After the first coup ended, sporadic attacks by scattered remnants of the rebellions still continued, but the world gradually gained stability. 2 years have passed since then, and Marco and Taima receive a sudden call from the General Staff Office. What they heard is unexpected. It was about that the rebels are getting organized, and looking at the result of putting all their maneuvers together, they are likely to be conceiving a big plan to launch a global attack like the first coup, and no one can organize the rebels except General Donald Morden. Shortly after, Marco and Taima receive a mission to prevent the second uprising before it happens. There was one more requirement for this mission. They had to join forces with the Sparrow's intelligence unit. Of course, their reactions were negative. However, the decision made by the head office was intertwined with their political views, so their opinions were not accepted. 2 Sparrow's agents arrive in front of Marco and Taima on the day of their first joint operations. They were Eri Kasamoto and Theo Jeremy. Eri was an orphan who later became the leader of a street gang. Then she was discovered by the government forces intelligence agency and worked for them as a spy before she was transferred to Sparrows. Theo is the only daughter of a wealthy Italian family. The Jeremy family was historically a military family. Due to family tradition, she was required to become a soldier. So her father made her join the government forces before he passed away. Marco and Taima were more concerned when they finally met them. Will the 2 organizations of regular army cooperate well? And how did Morden attempt a global-scale rebellion, again in only 2 years? Their mission to crush the second uprising begins in a situation where one cannot fathom the future. Their first mission takes place in Saudi Arabia. This place is where the Arabian revolutionaries, which allied with Donald Morden, raised the rebellion. Morden provides weapons to the Arabian soldiers and freely excavates ancient relics of pyramids to cover his military funds in return. First, the regular army heads to a rather plain village. The village looked normal on the outside, but they got information that the village was actually a fortress fully armed by Donald Morden. As expected, as soon as they pass the entrance, they face Abul Abbas, the leader of the Arabian revolutionaries. He's known for his indomitable fighting spirit, but not like the prior information, he tends to withdraw when things get rough. And finally, when there was nowhere to run away, he summons the Kisi-2, a VTOL gunship, but even the Kisi gets destroyed and he surrenders.
Mission complete.
After easily subduing the Arabian soldiers, the regular army heads to the Morden's dig site. However, what they find there isn't the rebel army, but mummies and bats. They were the guardians of the ancient tomb, and they certainly didn't welcome intruders. Marco and his team repel the ancient tomb guardians and enter deeper into the tomb. Morden expected them coming and deployed a cobra-shaped gigantic excavator, Ashinero, to attack them. Although it's primarily designed for digging tunnels, it is equipped with a laser cannon for crushing rocks and a huge suction device for sucking dust and debris that make it easy to be repurposed for combat in a pinch. But whether it's accidental or not, a SVX-15D Slugnoid, armed with dual 12.6mm Vulcan cannons and equipped with rocket boosters that allows it to jump very high, was inside the tomb. The Slugnoid greatly helps the regular army against Ashinero, and they safely escapes the tomb.
Okay. Mission complete.
Without having the time to celebrate their success in the Middle East, they receive a new mission to retrieve the SVF-07V Slug Flyer, newly developed by the regular army's engineers, which got stolen by the rebel army. And the Slug Flyer is being transferred through the European railroad connected with the rebel army supply route. The regular army gets on the freight train and finds the Slug Flyer they were looking for. However, at the moment when they were about to safely recapture the Slug Flyer, a platformed urban tank, Dragon Nosuke, appears and stops them. The Dragon Nosuke is equipped with hydraulics with its legs, allowing it to stand up to 12 meters tall, making it easy to launch anti-aircraft attacks. It also allows it to crush anyone or anything that happens to be beneath it. But as always, even the Dragon Nosuke gets defeated by the regular army's outstanding slug control.
Mission complete.
Meanwhile, in Hong Kong, weird things happen. Shortly after the recent several UFO sightings, the rebels invaded and occupied the city. When the regular army agents arrived, there were numerous rebel forces deployed. When they go outside the city after subduing the rebel army, a large amphibious tank, Big Shay, appears, showing off its grandeur, and it starts attacking the regular army. The Big Shay destroys the city with its massive hull and presses the regular army, but to Marco and his team, being big just meant there are lots of places to hit.
Mission complete.
Their next destination is New Godokin City. They receive information that the rebel army is doing a secret super soldier project deep in the New Godokin City sewer system. The sewers are located near the city's subway system, and the regular army move along the subway tunnel to reach the sewers. The rebel army derails the wagons of the subway and uses them to stop the regular army from entering the sewers. However, the agents recklessly fire against the approaching subway and eventually destroy it. Then what they find in the sewer where the experiment was done are mutated soldiers created by the rebel army's super soldier project. Their self-destruct attack was vicious, but what made it harder to fight them was that they were actually civilians who were abducted by the rebel army. Because of Morden's inhumane act, the agents burst with rage. Suddenly, covert operations submarine Hosmi appears. This nuclear-powered submarine, equipped with powerful electric cannons like what Tanio had, was planning to go up to the center of the city and launch a massive terrorist attack. However, the angry regular army agents wreak their wrath on Hosmi and completely destroy it. Their mission in New Godokin City ends ruefully.
Mission complete.
Just in time, Marco and his fellow members receive a news that the regular army's intelligence community has found Morden's secret base in Antarctica, and also that UFOs are frequently seen there, like in Hong Kong. The rebel army's resistance to defend their last base is fierce. Also, Alan O'Neill, who was thought to be dead, reappears and fights the agents, but gets defeated again and falls off the cliff and gets eaten by an orca. Leaving behind the poor Sergeant O'Neill, the regular army enters inside the rebel army's munitions production facility and encounters unexpected beings. They were Martians who were the owners of the UFOs. They begin to attack the agents. After defeating the Martians, more of them come and start attacking the agents. Their purpose of coming to Earth is unknown. For whatever reason, they left Mars and crash-landed on Earth. They were found by the rebel army and aligned with the forces of General Morden. When they get out after beating countless Martians, General Morden awaits with his new space tank made with alien technology. At that moment, the Martians suddenly betray their allies and attack them, and Morden gets sucked up inside their spaceship, the Daimanji. The agents fight a war with the aliens, and when they manage to shoot down the Daimanji, their gigantic mothership, the Rugname, appears. The betrayed rebel army join forces with the regular army, and the final battle begins with a meaningful moment of the alliance between the regular army and the rebel army. The combination of these two strongest forces of the Earth are powerful. The embattled Rugname prepares to launch a final blow towards the Earth. However, a rebel in an EKB makes a kamikaze attack into the core and causes an internal explosion. The Martians flee except for the Daimanji. Luckily or unluckily, the Daimanje fails to retreat and spit out Morden and explodes.
Mission complete.